Hello and welcome, I'm Thomas Porteous and you're watching the Africa Brief on NewsX World. Let's take a look at some of the top stories of the hour. DRC President Felix Tshisekedi says Rwanda has violated a US-brokered agreement meant to end years of conflict in the country's east as deadly clashes continue. M23 rebels, allegedly backed by Rwanda, seized Luvungi and fighting near Sangay left dozens dead, though responsibility for the strike remains unclear. Haiti says 230 new Kenyan officers have arrived, bringing the multinational gang fighting force to 980 personnel after the UN approved its expansion. The mission targets powerful gangs accused of mass killings and displacement as they tighten control over much of the country. Benin says Nigerian fighter jets helped stop a coup attempt in which mutinying soldiers tried to seize President Talon and even kidnapped top two officers. The dramatic intervention highlighted Nigeria's view of Benin as crucial to its security. Tanzania says planned Independence Day protests are an attempted coup, urging people to stay home after deadly crackdowns on October's election unrest. Police have arrested activists, declared any demonstration unlawful, and deployed heavy security across major cities. A new investigation says Sudan's Air Force has killed at least 1,700 civilians using unguided bombs on homes, markets and displacement camps since the civil war began in 2023. The Sudan Witness Project, which analysed 384 strikes, says only the SAF operates warplanes and should be held accountable. A bomb explosion in Sangay, eastern Congo, killed more than 30 people and injured 20 after clashes between the army and pro-government Wazalendo militia, despite a new US-brokered peace deal. The region, already destabilised by M23 and dozens of armed groups, remains one of the world's worst humanitarian crises. The World Health Organization says 114 people, including 63 children, were killed after 3 drone strikes hit a kindergarten, paramedics and a hospital in Sudan's Kordofan state. WHO and rights groups condemned the attacks, with civilian monitors blaming the RSF for the deadly strikes. Nigeria's central bank has approved 82 new bureau de change licenses under tougher rules after revoking more than 4,000 last year for violations. The regulator has banned street FX trading and raised minimum capital to 2 billion naira to fight market abuse and dollar shortages. Now, our top story of the hour. Congo's President Felix Tshisekedi has accused Rwanda of violating a US-brokered peace deal in eastern Congo, just days after signing new agreements in Washington. Tshisekedi spoke to lawmakers while Rwanda has yet to respond. Let's listen in to the president of the DRC.
Malgré notre bonne foi et l'accord récemment entériné, force est de constater que le Rwanda viole déjà ses engagements. Au lendemain même de la signature des unités des forces de défense du Rwanda, ont conduit et appuyé des attaques à l'arme lourde tirées depuis la ville rwandaise de Bugarama, provoquant de lourds dégâts humains et matériels, notamment dans les localités de Kaziba, Katogota et Lubarika au sud Kivu, rompant ainsi le cessez-le-feu.
Now, over the weekend, M23 rebels backed by Rwanda seized the village of Luvungi near Burundi border. Congolese troops clashed with local defence forces in Sangay, where at least 36 civilians, including children, were reportedly killed. The US State Department warned Rwanda to prevent further escalation and stressed the importance of implementing the peace deal. Officials say President Trump is monitoring the situation closely, emphasizing that actions on the ground must align with commitments made. The situation remains tense, with deadly clashes threatening the fragile stability in Congo's mineral-rich east. We're now joined by Dr. Tolit Atia. He's an African affairs expert and he joins us live from Kampala in Uganda. What more can you tell us, Doctor, about the fragile situation of this ceasefire and how Donald Trump and the US administration may react?
Oh, thank you very much. Definitely, as you correctly point out, this peace accord, and of course we know that there have been many other attempts at bringing peace into the Congo. But this particular one, this accord represents more than a diplomatic breakthrough, if you like, for Trump's administration. It is a test if Washington can transform plans for peace into a durable, mutually beneficial economic and security outcome. In one of course, as you correctly said, Africa's most fragile areas. Now, one thing about this peace deal is that there is a lot of hope, there is a lot of anticipation because of the way it has been uniquely crafted. We know that the Great Lakes region is where about three quarters of cobalt is mined, and as well as important minerals in today's particularly electric car and defense systems are crafted, things like tantalum, tin, and then the illegal the illegal or black market networks, particularly linked to China. So what this deal could do differently this time, and particularly under that it's just not a peace deal. This is more than a peace deal. One, there is the question of regional security. So when we see the escalation between Rwanda, continue the escalation between Rwanda and DRC, and now Rwanda being accused of continuing failed activities. This is not surprising because the stakes are high, and this leads to the second area of importance. So the first is regional security. The other is that this needs to be seen as a mineral corridor, and if it is a mineral corridor, like I have stated before, the question of mutuality, the question of collective benefit, economic benefit, that is both for the rich Congo, the mineral-rich Congo, and the countries that find themselves in the political economy of that corridor, and in this particular case, Rwanda and maybe Burundi, need to be factored in. So why I think that America has a unique opportunity and they need to seize it is that, for instance, America has the
Yes.
2004 crafted. Yes?
Yes, apologies, sorry, I was just... Thank you very much. We've got to move on to our next story yet. Do stay with us. We have further updates coming out of the African continent. Burundi has denounced attacks by Rwanda into its territory in a border area with Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. The Foreign Ministry of Burundi has said in posts on X that it condemned the recent provocation by Rwanda, which dropped bombs on Burundian territory near Chibitoke. wounding 2 people, including a 12-year-old child. According to reports, the Rwandan-backed M23 armed group advanced towards Ariva city on the Burundian border, where hundreds of fleeing Congolese and Burundian soldiers have taken refuge. The latest push by the anti-Kinshasa armed group comes just days after the signing of a Kinshasa-Kigali agreement brokered by Washington, aiming at restoring peace to eastern Congo. Apologies for the interruption there, Dr. Atia. Please give us your insight on this situation at the Burundian border.
Yes, what I was trying to say is that in spite of the signing, the final signing of this cooperation agreement, it's not going to be that the next day or the other day we are going to see a series of activities in the operational theaters. These battles are going to continue, and for many reasons. Some tactical, some are going to be defensive, some are going to be to position oneself. And we know, like I had just pointed out, that bringing to mind and understanding this conflict, the regional dimension of this conflict, or the regional security aspect of this conflict, and that certainly matters for Rwanda, for Burundi, and for DRC itself, is very important. But above everything is that we need to know that the stakes are high, and the stakes are high both internally and also involving external players, particularly because of the important minerals that are in this region. We know that there is an invisible hand here. There is this conflict, as we are seeing it from the very peripheral or meso level, which involves Rwanda, now Rwanda, Burundi, Rwanda, DRC. But above everything, there is the involvement, the current involvement or heavy involvement of China in exploiting the minerals in the Congo. And Washington is not going to sit and watch. So we are going to see these escalations on either side. It is a delicate deal, but one last thing I want to say is that America has the Millennium Cooperation Accord. So this particular economic framework, it gives America a very good opportunity at this time to be able to pull this deal in terms of both speed, the seriousness it deserves. So if they can leverage on the MCC, particularly to try and transform efforts of peace into economic viability, particularly for these important minerals, for both the American miners and American mineral security, and also to try and promote economic viability for the residents of the Congo and that particular mineral corridor. And this is something that these people, the populations in this region have yearned for over 50 years, and they have not seen. So if this can happen, then definitely we can see some peace coming to this region.
Okay, Dr. Tolit Atia, thank you very much for joining us here on NewsX World. It's been a pleasure to have you on the programme. We now move on and over to Nigeria, and dozens of school children kidnapped in Niger State have safely been reunited with their families. The children, taken from a private Catholic school in Papiri, arrived at the state government house. Niger State Governor Mohamed Amaru Bago welcomed the students as they disembarked from buses and were ushered into a hall for reunions. The incident highlights the growing crisis in Nigeria's northwest and central regions, where gangs have been increasing and targeting schools for ransom. Authorities are working to improve the situation and prevent further attacks. Okay, now joining us is Ayanuga Olugbenga Paul. He is a public affairs analyst joining us live from Lagos in Nigeria. We don't know much about this, Ayanuga, about the kidnappers. Do we know any further background of this situation?
Yeah, well, the government has yet to tell us, thank you first of all, the government has yet to tell us about how the rescue came about. Was there a contact? Was there a fight between them and the kidnapper? And I don't think there is any form of fight because of how delicate the matter is. I think this success is born out of negotiation, and that is why those children are released in batches. Because according to the report, 315 people were kidnapped. 12 of them are teachers, 303 are students, and in the immediate aftermath of the kidnap, about 50 or something escaped. Then we are left with 268 people still in captivity. It is out of that 268 people that are in captivity that they've now released 100 of them, and it's still remaining 168 people in captivity, among whom are 12 teachers. Now, the reason why it will be hard for government to go in gun blazing is because they don't want to, use the captives as human shield if the government goes in gun blazing. I think the government is doing a lot behind this.
Okay, unfortunately we've had some network issues there. We hope to get Ayanuga back, but we move on to our next story. And the alliance of Sahel states, comprising of Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso, has sharply condemned the emergency landing of a Nigerian military C-130 aircraft in Burkina Faso, warning it will take action against any violations of its airspace. In a joint statement broadcast across state media, the alliance said the aircraft, which was carrying 11 military personnel, had no authorization to transit Burkinabe airspace. The plane was forced to land in Bobo Dioulasso following an in-flight emergency. The bloc described the incident as an unfriendly act. The Sahel Alliance announced it has placed its air and anti-aircraft units on maximum alert with authorization to neutralize any aircraft deemed to be violating its airspace. The statement offered no details on the condition or whereabouts of the 11 personnel on board. The incident comes as Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso, each under military rule, continue to distance themselves from ECOWAS and Western partners while strengthening ties with Russia. Let's take a listen in.
Qu'un aéronef appartenant à l'armée de l'air de la République fédérale du Nigeria, de type C-130, a été contraint de se poser ce jour 8 décembre 2025 à Bobo Dioulasso, au Burkina Faso, à la suite d'une situation d'urgence en vol, alors qu'il évoluait dans l'espace aérien burkinabé. La Confédération des États du Sahel condamne avec la plus grande fermeté cette violation de son espace aérien et de la souveraineté de ses États membres. Face à cet acte inamical, mené au mépris du droit international et des règles internationales d'aviation civile et ou militaire, les dispositions sont prises pour garantir la sécurité de l'espace aérien confédéral, la souveraineté et l'intégrité territoriale de ses États membres, ainsi que la sécurité des populations de la Confédération AES. À cet égard, et sur instruction des chefs d'État, les défenses aériennes et anti-aériennes de l'espace confédéral mises en alerte maximale, conformément à la déclaration du Collège des chefs d'État en date du 22 décembre 2024, ont été autorisées à neutraliser tout aéronef qui violerait l'espace confédéral.
Ayanuga Olugbenga Paul joins us once again. Thank you very much. What more can you tell us about this alliance of Sahel states and its stance against situations like this? It's different from the rest of that region of the continent.
Well, I think they intentionally put out this message to extract a diplomatic dialogue from the situation on ground. Because, like I've said earlier, when the Guinea-Bissau and ECOWAS was wrong to condemn and threaten, I am of the stance that they should not be threatening any sovereign nation. Rather, they should look for a way to mediate without resorting to threatening, because it was the same threatening that ECOWAS threatened Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger that made them withdraw from ECOWAS alliance and form the Sahel alliance. So now that this mistake has happened on the part of the Nigerian government, I think the government must have been dialoguing with them behind the scene, but they intentionally put out this information so that in the negotiation between Nigerian government and the Burkinabe government and the entire Sahel region, they will have, a maximum advantage to pull out from the situation. I don't see it as something that will escalate further. I think that they are only looking to, get maximum negotiation advantage from the situation, which I believe will be resolved through diplomatic channels without allowing further escalation. And this goes to show why ECOWAS needs to be careful in its utterances when coup happens in nations, especially the fact that Nigeria's efforts in leading the ECOWAS efforts led to the disruption of the coup attempt in Benin Republic. So if that happens and then your aircraft is now straying into an unfriendly airspace, they have a right to be concerned. That's Burkina Faso. They have a right to ground your aircraft, but I don't think they're doing this to pick up a fight with ECOWAS or with Nigeria. I think they are just doing it to take advantage of the situation and get maximum diplomatic opportunities for conversations, maybe even legitimizing, the governments in those countries.
Yes, thank you very much. Do stay with us as we have one more story to discuss. Supporters of Beninese President Patrice Talon have gathered in Cotonou for a sit-in denouncing the attempted coup a day earlier. Residents held signs holding no more coups in Benin as organisers led chants condemning what they described as imposters and murderers behind Sunday's events. Benin's government has said that mutinying soldiers tried to seize Talon and abducted 2 senior military officials who were released the following morning. Authorities said Nigerian fighter jets carried out airstrikes to help thwart the attempt after Abuja deployed air and ground forces to support Benin. Let's listen in to what some of the residents have said.
Cette institution travaille à l'intégration des États. Et lorsqu'un pays membre est en danger, il est de bon ton que cette communauté puisse intervenir. Et je pense que c'est un peu dans la même dynamique que ce qui était proposé au Niger et qui a été mal interprété. Et donc je pense qu'il n'y a pas péril à la demeure, au contraire. N'eût été d'ailleurs l'intervention du Nigeria, Dieu seul sait où nous serons aujourd'hui. Je pense que cette solidarité entre pays ouest-africains est à encourager.
C'est le peuple tout entier qui est concerné. Et nous ne voulons plus jamais de prise de pouvoir par la force au Bénin. Nous ne voulons plus jamais de coup d'État au Bénin. Nous ne voulons plus jamais de prise d'otage de nos fondamentaux, de nos acquis démocratiques. C'est pour ça que nous nous sommes mobilisés massivement pour dire non à l'ennemi, comme un seul homme, pour témoigner notre soutien au chef de l'État, Patrice Talon, notre soutien aux forces armées du Bénin et notre soutien à tout le peuple béninois.
We're now once again joined by Anuga to discuss this. As the fallout, not the fallout, but time passes, we're learning more about this situation in Benin, which happened just yesterday. The help of Nigerian jets we now know were involved, possible casualties. What else do we know, Anuga?
Well, we know that the coup plotters have been brought under control. There was an attempt before Nigeria, deployed fighter jets. It was alleged that the Nigerian government tried to negotiate with the coup plotters so that they can leave the country, have a safe passage out of the country to maybe Russia or even France. But the government, by the Nigerian government, or we now deployed the fighter jet. And this March, for our people, Nigeria shares border with Benin Republic in Cotonou. The border has been closed, so trade activity has been halted for the past 2-3 days in that area. And this march by the people shows a vote of confidence in the government of President Talon. He has brought in a lot of prosperity, a lot of stability in the last 10 years into the economy of Benin. And Benin are not people who are given to violence. They are easygoing people who just want to live their life and, enjoy. This vote of confidence goes a long way in sending signal to other military officers who may want to reattempt the same thing, that the people are happy with the government that they have. And I don't see another coup anywhere near Benin in a distant future with this event that has happened now.
Okay, thank you very much, Ayanuga, for joining us here on NewsX World. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, of course. We now move on to our final story. And the opposition presidential candidate, Robert Kyagulanyi, also known as Bobby Wine, campaigned to enthusiastic crowds in Kampala as the rally was disrupted when security forces deployed tear gas against the supporters. The campaign turned tense when security forces moved in, sending plumes of tear gas smoke across the crowd. Despite the disruption, Bobby Wine thanked his supporters for their resilience and claimed the Ugandan government was provoking citizens. Meanwhile, Bobby Wine has responded. Let's listen in to what he had to say.
To the international community, you all are watching what is happening in Uganda. The East African community is watching what is happening in Uganda. The African Union is watching, and the United Nations is watching. And I wonder whether you are waiting to see a massacre in Uganda so you can act or you can speak out. We are aware that the regime is provoking the citizens so that the citizens of Uganda can respond with throwing rocks in order for the regime to get justification to massacre them.
Well, that's a wrap on today's Africa Brief. Keep watching NewsX World for more international news updates.
Thank you.